and I saw this white object, and
Oh,
it was like I kid you not, it looked like the classic description of the Tic Tac that flavor sauce.
hello, and welcome to Out of the Ordinary, where I have interesting conversations with people that have experienced something different, something unique. Today's interview is with somebody that has had multiple UAP experiences this year alone. These objects almost seem to be toying with this person. He describes them as being mischievous. This was a very fun one for me to record, and it's good to get back to it. So, enjoy. So to start off, you've had 4 or 5 um, encounters with an unknown flying object in the last, was it a year? Is it?
Yeah, honestly, since April, since
Holy
April,
cow. Okay.
yeah. And I'm saying four that happened at nighttime. That no matter how many times I replay it in my head, it's like, okay, I would have to be damn near an infant to have never seen these things happen before because they're pretty. Like, I'll just break it down. In April,
Sure,
like the
sure.
first thing
Hmm.
I was in Florida for a video shoot, and
Okay.
our cameraman bought a hotel host suite on the top floor, so we had like a great view of the beach water, like the
Ooh.
sky above the beach.
Yeah.
So when we were looking over, you could see nothing but stars. Like it was crystal clear skies. That doesn't really clear skies. It was
Yeah.
clear skies.
Yeah, I getcha.
So one night we were out there and I look and we're all just on the porch, mainly looking down at this little lagoon that the hotel had because there was alligators in the lagoon just swimming around and you can see the fish too. So we were wondering like, okay, is the gator going to get the fish? But that's what we were looking at. And then I look up for some rhyme or reason and I see two fat stars, like two
Okay.
star type objects playing with each other.
Oh,
Like
shit.
imagine a double helix, and
Whoa.
like the double helix is the flight path, and
Okay.
the stars start at the beginning of the helix, and they're just going around each other
So
like
they're
a ribbon.
like,
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
spiraling going down, and they just kept doing it. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I asked somebody, like, yo, you see this? Everyone looks up. It's really hard to point out a specific star you're looking at in the night of stars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really comprehend that until I was like trying to point out, yo, nah, it's the star to the left. I felt so fucking slow. I was like, okay, how am I going to describe this? One of my friends claimed that he saw it too,
Mm-hmm.
but we couldn't both confirm it, so we just kept it pushing on that. But
Okay.
I ended up going on YouTube looking at compilation videos of UAP, and I saw the exact same thing I described.
Oh, cool.
So I screen recorded that, and I can send that to you after.
Sure.
And I what's it called? Screen recorded that, posted it on Reddit for a question like, what could this possibly be? Because it matches up close to what I saw. The only difference was when they stopped the spiraling motion, one stood still and one kept going in the video.
Oh.
And people said that that could be flare. I mean, skydivers with flares attached to their legs. But the only problem with that
Maybe.
is in the video, one thing literally was just hovering. And I
Oh,
would
jeez.
assume that
Yeah.
two skydivers would at least pull their chutes at the same altitude, and one was
Yeah.
really distant. But in my experience, it was just gone. Like if I saw the double helix doing the motion that it was doing, and it
Mm.
was skydivers, I would assume that the skydivers would still be in the sky when I told my friends to look up, and I wouldn't have to try to point out stars
That's
because it was
true.
completely gone.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing
skydivers
is
will do
that,
that.
yeah, it's at night. I actually,
Exactly.
I've been skydiving in Florida, and I, I've never been at night. I don't necessarily know if that's a thing, but I don't know. That sounds kind of risky.
It does.
And those kind of maneuvers in the air. I've seen people in indoor skydiving, like they have the big wind tunnel, and they'll do flips and they'll do tricks, all sorts of stuff. And you can see some really good skydivers, but yeah, you got to be really, really skilled to pull off anything but just trying to breathe and holding your arms up like this. So I guess it's a possible explanation, but it's not a great one. It seems like one of those
Not a
things
great
where,
one.
yeah, if you're sitting there watching it in person, you're probably thinking there's no fucking way it's a skydiver. Like,
Exactly. If someone
yeah,
said it was a skydiver that night, the main thing that would have stuck out is the duration of it. Like
okay,
skydiver, that's the main common thread with all of these events is the duration of them. Like
hmm,
most things that are in the sky remain visible, at least in the South, in Georgia and Florida, for a very long time.
that's
Like
fair.
even
Yeah,
through thunderstorms, I can see them at least on the length of the road. It's not like they're going from astonishing speed. Even if they were going astonishing speeds to where
hmm,
they're out of my visibility in 3 seconds, that's a problem. But
yeah.
these were like literally going. These two stars were going within like 3 seconds because I literally looked
Wow,
down, pointed it out, lifted my arm up. By the time I lifted my arm up, I was stargazing again because it was like completely going. But then
jeez.
fast forward from that one to we were in Louisiana in July,
Okay.
and we were outside on a porch again, but this time it was ground level. And I look up, and we're just talking, and there's like the fattest, like imagine a cartoon, like a classic iconic comet,
Okay. Yeah.
like the ball of light with the trail around the classic comet
Yeah.
was literally flying across the sky for like 5 seconds, and just as soon as it appeared, it disappeared. I
Ooh.
was so confused. Well, because I mean, I looked in the comments, and comments are visible for the human eye for 18 months.
Yeah. They
And
they look like
yeah,
they're going really slow to us because they're so far away. So
exactly.
yeah.
This thing was clear. It looked like the largest shootings because I grew up in Savannah and I could see shooting stars all the time in my front yard. It
Hmm.
was the closest, fattest shooting star I've ever seen. Like that thing,
Hmm.
just the size of it, the quickness, and the trail that it left behind. Like, and it wasn't even like, I don't want to say like a trail like a contrail, but it looked as the closest thing to describe it as is like a tadpole is surrounded by the clear sac or
Yeah.
some embryos. Yeah, it looked like the trail was more comparable to an embryo.
Ooh.
Like it looked like it was a yolk inside a white embryo
So
skirting across the sky.
it didn't really look like stuff that was breaking off of the back. Then it looked like it was
Exactly.
stretching.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's why I'm trying to exactly. That's why I'm
Oh,
trying to
that's weird.
differentiate between the
Okay.
contrail and what I saw because like when I was replaying it in my head and when I saw it, the reason why it caught my eye is because it looked like it was one giant thing, but one thing inside of another that looked like a comet trail, but it wasn't. It didn't look like dust trail,
Huh.
and it was going just like the first time it was going. And then fast forward again, I'm back in Georgia, and the other day during daylight, I'm walking out because I was releasing the music video that we shot in Louisiana.
Okay.
So I was showing my mom, and when I showed my mom at first, I gave her my phone, but then I was like, "Oh, I could just show you on the TV before I leave." So I put it on the TV,
Hmm.
and I left. But then I realized, oh, I left my phone in the crib. But right before I realized that, I looked up and I saw this white object, and
Oh.
it was like I kid you not, it looked like the classic description of the Tic Tac that Fravor saw, like with the tiny
Jeez.
plumes on the bottom of it, a white type tic, classically. Because I looked at it and at first I thought it was a blimp. I was like,
Hmm.
"What the?" But it caught my eye immediately. I was like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck is that?"
Yeah. What
Like
the fuck is a
like
blimp doing out here?
on God. And then I looked because most blimps have like advertisements nowadays. I've
That's
never
fair.
seen a fucking traveling blimp like the Hindenburg. Never seen that. But most blimps I see have either the little trail behind them or advertising right on
Yeah.
the blimp itself. None of that. It looked like a solid white object, and I keep looking at it, and it's just slowly like floating through this small patch of sky in front of my crib. Like
Wow.
there's sky all over my crib, but this one specific area is between like trees and a house, and you can see like
Yeah.
this cool little cutout, and it was just floating through it. Like imagine a bug floating in front of light, but I could clearly see this thing was high in the sky. So I'm like, okay, let me record it. But then I realized my phone's in the house. I run back inside. Takes me like a minute max. Get my
Hmm.
phone, come back out. And I'm seeing at first I don't want to trip. I'm like, okay, is it still there? It's still there. And what tripped me out was a plane, like a commercial plane, because I live next, like 35 minutes away from the Atlanta airfield,
Okay.
like the Atlanta airport. So a commercial plane's constantly at this distance from it. They're flying low enough to see the entire outline, usually.
Yeah.
So a plane flew by, and I saw the whole plane, but it was occupying this like the little object I saw was like in the same space, like airspace as the plane. Like
Whoa.
the altitude that a bird, plane, or a blimp would be, it confirmed, yeah, that shit is up there. So it's not a bug. What the fuck is that? So I start recording it, and I actually got like 6 seconds of it because then
Oh,
like
nice.
5 seconds later, I'm like, okay, I want to get the plane, the commercial plane that I just saw. I want to also get that in the shot for reference.
Not
So when I
bad.
moved to get exactly when I went to get that for reference, it was gone. Like the commercial plane was gone. Then I looked back and that was gone.
Oh
But then when I'm
man.
editing the video to see if I really saw that, it did some really weird vertical zigzag maneuver in post. Like when I was
Huh.
looking at it, and that made me upload it to Reddit, and people were saying it was the parallax effect, and that kind of discounted what I saw visually. So the whole parallax effect of the camera was plausible, but yet not really explaining the entire event itself. And then when
Yeah.
somebody used the radar data, there was not like it was confirmed that there was a plane heading northbound, but there was
Hmm.
no other plane in the airspace at that time.
Jeez. And it's one of those things, and I get why you say, it's a plausible explanation. It's one of those where it's a plausible explanation for exactly what you see in the video. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a plausible explanation for you, though. If you're standing there watching that,
Exactly.
you're like this. Oh, I got to wipe the parallax out of my eyeball. Sorry, 1 second. Like this
I'm tripping.
shit. That's give me some. That's some good stuff. Uh,
Oh my god.
how far away was this Tic Tac object?
Uh,
Estimating.
See, however far a plane is to where you can still visually see the turbine. You can't see any windows, but you can see the turbines on the wings itself. Like that's how much detail you can make out on the plane. It was at least that high. If it
Okay, so
was
that's
high, it was a small object, but if it was farther, it was a large object because it was clear like the shape of it.
jeez. So you would almost. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would feel more comfortable if it was closer and a little bit smaller than if it was really far away and just happened to be the size of a, I don't know, like a city. Just
Exactly.
holy
Yeah.
crap. Okay, so that
But
was.
here's the plot
Go
twist.
ahead.
Here's the plot twist. I posted it on Reddit, right?
Yeah.
Someone said parallax effect, and for that one, they were all. You saw how they were on this first one. That's how they were on the comment section for this one, and I really didn't have the patience for it, so I just
Mm.
removed the post. And then I saw on Reddit like 2 days later because I was checking the top post of the week. Somebody posted the exact same white object, and then they said that they saw it 3 days ago. And in the comment section, the people in the comment section were saying that they saw the exact same thing. And then when I reposted mine, people are also saying they saw it. And then another guy posted a
Holy
video of the
crap.
same thing. But the kicker
Wow.
is, and he posted it, and he said it was 3 days ago from the day he posted it, which all lined up
Which.
to the exact same day I saw it in different parts of the
Holy
country.
crap.
Exactly. But the weird part is we all visually saw something different. I told you I saw a Tic Tac. What
Mm-hmm.
they described was a flying, like some described a traditional flying saucer,
Okay.
some described a flat, like just a regular old disc, and some described a white dot.
Huh.
And the thing is, there's from ATIP, when ATIP did release their files, there was one file that said there's evidence that the phenomenon possesses psychotronic weaponry
Whoa.
or psychotronic systems, and that would and there's also like that's apparently the prevailing theory right now that they have the ability, like certain aspects of the phenomenon have the ability to project what you see visually, and that's why when you capture it, it tends to be just a white star.
I've heard different people. Oh, come on. Tom DeLonge mentioned this as well, that there's a big connection to consciousness,
Yeah,
and that they will oftentimes manifest in ways that will kind of more make sense to your brain. And I've heard people say that might indicate a connection to like interdimensional travel as opposed to other things. And it's you can get into. I mean, I'm sure you know at this point because it sounds like you've done a little research since then. It's a big rabbit hole. There's a whole lot of digging that can be done in this topic, and
oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah.
and it's just fascinating, absolutely fascinating stuff. But this was number three.
Yeah,
Is this
that
one?
daylight one was number three.
Okay.
And when I did that, when I experienced that, and then I learned, made the psychotronic connection. Like
Hmm.
I've always kind of been aware of that aspect, but I was just confused as to, okay, but this kind of negates, that a lot of others. I'll get to that later. But
Okay.
I knew that stuff, so I was kind of thinking at this point that this specific thing I was seeing constantly at this point, because it was the third one, had some type of link to my mood or my mind or something. Like I don't know how it just felt like that's what it because I don't know how to describe it, but I was in a very jovial mood when like I was
Huh.
very content when I saw the white one. And I was like,
Okay.
yo, is that the reason why? So when I was walking my dog the following day at nighttime,
Hmm.
I was like, maybe if I leave my phone, because I like to test things like that. So I was like,
Yeah.
if it's truly able to read my thoughts in a way, it would present itself easier if I had no chance of recording it. Like
Right.
that's what I thought. So I purposely left my phone at the house and I grabbed my dog and I usually take a right to walk home, but I took a left this time because there's clearer skies and less like literal traffic. So I walked down this trail and I kid you not, I'm of course stargazing because the whole point was to see if it would come out.
Yeah.
And this time, I see a fucking star as bright as Sirius is visible from Earth. Like as bright as we see Sirius,
Hmm.
that's how bright this star was, and it was like unmistakably moving across the sky. And I'm looking at it, and
Jeez.
I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck is this? No way!" I'm like, "No fucking way!" And then it comes like imagine something you see directly in front of you moving in a straight line, and then it takes that straight line and it does the first part of the Z. The
Oh.
first part of that Z is like right and to your left now. Now you're
Okay.
looking at it and you're like, okay, that's clearly a star that just made a drastic move in the sky. This is no longer a star, but it's still bright as a fucking star. I just told you how visible planes are. You can definitely see the FAA lights no matter what time of night it is. Like
Yeah.
once the sun goes out, you know it's a plane at nighttime. It was right there. And then it made the second part of the Z once I made eye contact with it and 100% knew what it was. And I don't know how to describe it, but the whole time it's making that second line of the Z, I feel like we're like eye contact. Like I'm definitely watching
Yeah.
it, but now I feel like it's definitely watching me. And while it's making that second half of the Z, there's a cloud. And I'm thinking, okay, if this is just a regular thing, it's going to disappear visually once it goes behind this cloud. Although, since then, I've realized that the FAA planes don't do that. I mean, the FAA lights on planes don't do that. I looked, and it
Hmm.
was still completely visible, still no blink through the plane. But the only difference was now that it was behind the plane, I mean, behind the cloud, I mean, not a plane,
Yeah.
behind the cloud, you could see a vertical silhouette of a disc.
Whoa.
Like while it was going through the cloud, you could see like like imagine an eyeball on a plate. Like it looked like a circle, and then the star was right in the dead center of that circle, and it was only visible while it was through the cloud. And once it went through the cloud, the circle was gone, and then the star hovered there for a second, and I was watching it, and I was like, son of a bitch. And it advanced. And then I ran back to the house with my dog. And I was like, okay, we're going. I grabbed my phone, went straight back down, didn't see it again. And I was like, ain't this a bitch? But that one, out of everything so far that I saw, that one was like 100%
Oof.
up to then was
Yeah.
100% something that I could not explain,
Yeah.
like at all.
So with the silhouette, I just want to make sure I'm picturing this right because this is a very very cool image in my head. Maybe it would be just as cool to see in person. I don't know, but uh, it sounded like it went behind the cloud and the I guess the light source on it illuminated the rest of the shape of it through the clouds. Is that what you're alluding to? Like is that what it seemed like, where you could see that it was actually a vertical disc with a light in the
Yeah,
middle?
that's exactly what it seemed
Okay,
like. Like
and you couldn't
somehow
quite
the
see the
star
rest.
must have been too bright.
Okay,
Yeah,
huh? Holy crap!
yeah, it was
Man, oh man.
peaceful though. Like when
Okay.
it felt like we made like we were in eye contact the whole time, which was insane. But it didn't feel scary. Like the whole
Okay.
time, if anything, if you were there in the moment with me, I would have told you this is underwhelming. If anything, like
Hmm.
emotionally, it felt like it was like if you've always been in your yard and you just now notice that there's a constant squirrel or something. Like
Yeah.
something very strange. I'm not even strange because squirrels aren't strange, but it felt like something at first when you like first locked eyes. What the fuck? But
Hmm.
then it felt like it was meant to be here,
Okay.
so to speak. Yeah, it didn't feel like I was frightened at all. Like that, I knew it wouldn't be there when I came back because it feels mischievous. There we go. That's the word that has been sticking in my head for all of this. It's just mischievous. Like
Oh, like it's
just
kind
seems
of
like
toying with you. Yeah.
exactly like not miss, but the other one, the following night,
Hmm.
like the very following night, I was driving from work, and I was like right when I was pulling out the parking lot, I see a red one. Like this time, I work next to Lake Lanier, so there's nothing but woods in certain areas, and it happens to be right in front of my little burger spot. There's a nothing but woods and a clearing in the sky where you can see all the planes. At this point, it's like 45 minutes from the airport,
Okay.
so the planes are more like they're getting closer to dots, but they're still visual. Like you can still
Yeah.
see the tail, you can still see, and you can damn sure see all the FAA lights at night.
Yeah.
Like at nighttime, you can see that crazy. But this one was like when I'm pulling out, it's like a solid red light, like
Huh.
a solid red star. It's bright as Sirius still, but it's red this time. And when I'm looking at it, I'm like pulling out and finna merge onto this road to get to the highway. So there's 100% no way I'm finna record it this time. Again. So like further me thinking, okay, what the fuck? So I'm like jokingly, because I've already established in my head that it's some type of mental rapport. So I'm like jokingly again trying to test it. If you're really this, like if you're really an alien, meet me at the crib. Like this is a joke. I'm thinking fucking way. Like so I keep driving, I ignore it. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna record it. So there's no point in me even like further looking into this. I kind
Right.
of brush it off. So I get onto the highway and I'm still not even thinking about it. Just sounding completely because up to this point, there's been like 4 months between each encounter, and one of them,
Hmm.
besides the day and night one, and that one was just crazy. I thought I would take it to the grave. But this time, I'm like 5, 6 minutes down the highway, out of nowhere, here comes the fucking red dot to my left. Like I see
Jeez.
it in the peripheral in my sky. Then I look, I'm like, oh shit, that's really it. No fucking way. Like no fucking way. This thing immediately glides across the sky like a laser on the wall. Like you point a laser pointer at the wall.
Jeez.
That thing did that shit. Watching me the whole time again, the same feeling, and then it came back to the same position, stood there, and when like I'm looking, I'm finna record it. My phone's in my pocket. I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta catch this one. I'm trying to swipe in my in my peripheral with my left finger, while I'm still maintaining eye contact because I'm trying to make sure this shit does not fly off or something. So I'm driving, trying to maintain eye contact and pull my phone out and record. So by the time I like managed to get a good grip of the phone, because the first three swipes it didn't really fucking work.
I
I
hate
remember
that.
that vividly.
I've had that
Exactly.
happen so much.
But it was crazy because it took like three swipes. I'm still maintaining eye contact. I look down. I'm fucking. It's like in slow motion. I'm finally pulling out the camera. I look and I watch the red dot blink out.
Oh.
It blinked out, and then like a fucking movie. When it blinked out, there was dry lightning behind it, and it illuminated the entire sky. And saw there, you could see the silhouettes of the clouds, but you could also see there was nothing in the sky anymore.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was fucking insane, and all that again happened the following night, and that's what I ended up recording. And that's the video that you saw because it it had every single same aspect besides the erratic movement. Like
Okay.
other than the erratic movement, the star in the video was in the same distance, the same positioning, and the even the dry lightning after it blinked out,
Yeah.
like that illuminated the sky. Every single thing happened the same way besides the movement. And I was like, okay, if anything, this is at least a good visual reference point for the story that I just told. If
Fair.
anything, but if it is the same thing, that's even more crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah,
And it's had up until April. Have you ever had any experiences like this before?
not at all.
Wow. So it just boom, hit the ground running. Holy
Hit the ground running.
holy crap. Man, oh man. Uh, so you think about these things kind of in a similar way that I would. That's I found myself kind of chuckling a lot when you say, I left my phone at the house, thinking that that would encourage it to come out and I would get a better chance of seeing it. And I think a lot along that same lines of, it feels like you're kind of sussing out, you're trying to kind of experiment and draw this situation out again. Do you have any thoughts or any like tricks that you might pull out your sleeve in the next month or so?
Yeah, I'm probably going to try and find. I've been looking for this ideal spot with that's probably far enough from Atlanta that there's no light pollution because that's the main kicker is the
Okay.
light pollution around here. So I'm not I'm not really in a spot that I can see all of the sky like I want to. But if I can, I'm gonna find a spot and I'm gonna go there with no video at first, and then I'm gonna try
Okay.
and recreate whatever I see the first time with maybe some Stephen Greer tactics. Because
Okay.
at the very least, the laser pointer thing that Stephen Greer talks about, and apparently the whole mind thing,
Yeah.
are common threats. I've seen multiple videos of people using the laser pointer to point them out and make them move out of the sky, like move their
Huh.
positioning. And honestly, according to the quote unquote lore of the subject, lasers are even the laser technology, like the laser pointer technology itself, all harken back to the UAP.
Yeah, I've
And
heard
if you
that
really want
before.
to get, yeah, like if you want to get super deep, even Colonel Philip J. Corso, the author of The Day After Roswell, was saying that focused beams of light and energy are key. Like, not
Cool.
are key to, I don't want to say attacking them, but at least key to disturbing them.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
And,
might
and
be a good
it's,
tactic then. Something to try out.
yeah, I'm definitely going to have to at least try it out. If you even go to the UFO subreddit and go to the top post of all time, the top post is that tactic right there.
Huh. I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Um but you didn't with any of these times you said it felt like it was watching you, like you making eye contact. I've had that feeling before with say like a wild animal out on like a hiking trail. And Of course, with
Yes.
something like that, if it's like a deer or something, you just kind of like sitting there staring at it. But if it's like a bear or something, that's like a whole different. There's like an interaction that kind of happens in that split moment of, oh shit. Um, what would you kind of akin that to? I know you said earlier it was kind of like like a squirrel was in your yard and you're like, oh shit, it's a squirrel. But like, did that fluctuate at all? Was that right away?
See, when I'm glad you asked that because when I saw the white one, the white star was that was more like seeing an intelligent because somebody compared it to this predator prey syndrome because they said not syndrome but those ancient artifacts we have from evolution like the alien not the lizard alien brain but the lizard brain
Hmm.
and like little remnants like that. They said that the whole predator prey thing and the feeling we get when we're getting watched by an animal or watched by another human is a remnant of that. And he
Okay.
was comparing the feeling that most because he said it's a common thread. So he was comparing it to that, and I was like, that's true, but it didn't feel like the white one at least didn't feel like a. It felt like something was definitely on my level or above it. It didn't feel like I was interacting with a lower creature like
Hmm.
when you go to the zoo and you look at all of them and you're like yeah my kind put you in here
Yeah.
type shit yeah it didn't feel like that like that type of interaction it felt like okay if I fuck up they could put me there because it
Okay.
felt like that guy the white star was more of a puma not like something that could
Mm.
fuck you up but for the most part it's peaceful and it's wise like a
Hmm.
big cat is solo, just chilling, and if you don't fuck with it, not even if you don't fuck with it, because it can control the situation regardless. But if you don't disrespect it's chilling, you know.
Yeah, if you give it
But
its
the
space.
second, yeah, yeah, if you give it its space and you
Yeah.
just watch it from like you don't. That's why like I harken the camera back to like comparable to a gun in this scenario. You don't if you don't fuck with it or you don't threaten it with something that it don't like, you're fine and
Hmm.
it's chilling. But the second one, the red one, that one felt like more of a bear. Like that one felt
Oh,
like more
okay.
of a just peeking. Like when you see a bear and he thinks his camouflage is really good, but you can see him through the bush with
Yeah.
your peripheral. Yeah, that's how it felt with the red star. But it definitely felt like he wasn't trying to hide it all. It felt like more of a yo, I'm here, this is me. And then when I tried to record it, he was like, haha, fuck you. Like that's exactly how it felt. It didn't feel as serene as the white star. It didn't fill me or terror or dread or anything because I'm fully aware whatever this thing is has been here way longer than us. So no matter what I do, I'm fucked. So I was just like,
Fair.
I'm chilling with it. If this is truly a bear, a malevolent thing, it'll deal with whatever it has to deal with. But it felt like it was kind of teased when it did the disappear, like because it just blinked. It just like wop wop wop. I figure, okay, yeah, you can definitely just instantly dip. You don't have to blink if you can have that type
It's
of
fair.
technology.
Yeah.
Just like Travis Walton was saying, he feels like anytime you see him at all, it's deliberate because they could just, if they wanted to, they could present themselves as a treat. Like he
Yeah.
says, yeah, he says anything they do is deliberate, which kind of just makes me think. I mean, made me feel like knowing all this knowledge beforehand too made me feel like okay, yeah, watching this thing,
It seems pretty
I
mischievous at that point then. Yeah.
yeah, it definitely felt like a mischievous bear. But the two things felt different though. Like the one definitely felt like an intelligent puma, and the other one definitely felt like a mischievous bear. Both felt like they was eye contact. Only
Huh.
those two instances. The other three instances felt like I was just like catching glimpses of things on accident. But the
Okay.
second ones really felt like okay, this is deliberately a one-on-one thing.
Wow. And it's really interesting to me that the different colors had a different feel to them. You're in doing any of your digging. I'm sure you've come across Skinwalker Ranch, and oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I Oh, I love Skinwalker Ranch, and I'm trying to set up actually some interviews of some people. Um, but one of the things that they mentioned from some of the stories of the families that live there ahead of time that own the property is these different color orbs, and they had kind of almost like a category. Like these color ones were fine, and they would just be off in the distance, and they would kind of dance around. But I don't know if it was yellow, blue, or red. They would come at you if you're sitting on the porch, and it was this instantaneous dread feeling, like just everything, your adrenaline just shot so far up that you just panic and started to flee the area. And I think it was one of those colored ones that like vaporized their dogs and turned them into just dog mush. Just horrific stuff. So I guess if you're going out there with a laser pointer out in the woods, be safe.
We also plan on a Skinwalker Ranch expedition, a week-long outdoor camping trip.
Oh, shit. Oh,
Yeah, we
man.
I fully plan on tackling this thing head on.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I mean, I just hope everyone looks into it, at least the phenomenon itself,
Yeah.
further research.
Yeah.
Definitely warrants it.